I'm going to start by opening up a word of prayer. God, I thank you for today, Lord. I just thank you for the time that you give us, Lord, to do this. Lord, I pray that, Lord, I know I get something out of it. Lord, I'm praying that somebody else does. And Lord, just thank you for what's available for us to be able to do this. And Lord, I just pray that through doing this, Lord, we're growing in you. And Lord, I just, right now, I come to you thanking you for the church family we have, Lord. Lord, I thank you for Brother John and Miss Denise. Lord, I'm asking you to be with them, Lord. I know this time is trying, Lord. I know it's trying on him as well. Lord, I pray that you give him strength. Lord, I pray that you give him peace. And Lord, I pray that you give him guidance to steer these uncharted waters, these troubled waters. And Lord, just let him know that he's not alone. Lord, I just thank you for this class, Lord. I thank you for what they mean to us. And Lord, I just thank you for sending your son, Lord. I just thank you for the hope that we have in him. And Lord, I just thank you that he blesses, you bless us so many ways. And Lord, we don't deserve it, Lord, but we thank you for it. Lord, just thank you for everything you give us, Lord. Thank you for Jesus. Thank you for raising him. And Lord, I ask all these things in your name. Amen. What I want to talk about tonight is something I've been looking at, and it's probably something I needed more than maybe one of you. But it's going to be kind of based on Romans 8:28 that says, we know that all things work together for good to those who love God and to those who are called according to His purpose. And what I want to talk about is called choice architect. And let me just give you a little definition of it. A choice architect is the design of different ways in which choices can be presented and the impact of that presentation on the decision making. Now, just hang with me. I know it's weird to start with, but just hang with me. I'm gonna bring this back together. And a couple things. I come across this thing. Let me read this to you. It says in a book called Nudge, authors Richard H. Fowler and Cass R. Sustein cite some fascinating examples of the way small and seemingly insignificant details can have a major impact on behavior. Now, I'll stop right there and say that, how true this is. How true this is, within our homes. Just think about, as a husband and wife, maybe not having, seeing eye to eye on something, just one little thing that you say, one little thing that you do or you don't do can have a significant impact on how the rest of the night goes, the rest of the day goes, and how many times you have to apologize and ask for forgiveness. And the same goes true with kids. How we handle certain behavior with our children, you know, will, you know, they will reciprocate, that what we give them, a lot of times what they give us back. So small and seemingly insignificant details can have a major impact on behavior. And that's what they said. And here's the example they give. And I thought this was strange, but, I guess I can understand it. It says the men's restroom at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam. It says a good example. When the restroom designer etched an image of a black housefly into each urinal, it reduced spillage by 80%. Now, when I first read this, I was like, that is just absolutely nasty and absolutely absurd. But it said, according to Aid Kaboom, the man who came up with the idea, if a man sees a fly, he aims at it. Now, I would say more so a mosquito than a fly, but okay, we'll go with it. Kaboom is what the authors call a choice architect. And, while we may not think of ourselves in those terms, so are we. In big ways and in small ways, we influence each other in subtle and not so subtle ways. And let me give you some examples. Something as simple as a smile can charge an emotional atmosphere, positive or in a positive way. An encouraging word can alter in a relational dynamic. Just some little minute detail can change the whole situation. And it could be maybe open a door. One thing I try to do is, when you see somebody, hey, how you doing? Just at least speak to them. And sometimes I get a response, sometimes I don't. I mean, it don't matter to me one way or another. I know one time when me and Johnny went to Chicago, of course, being down here in the South, you speak to people. And one thing, let me say this, one thing I did learn a long time ago from an older gentleman, I asked him why he spoke to people, why he, went out of his way. And he told me, he said, it's easy. He said his dad told him this thing. He said, being nice doesn't cost you anything. You never know what kind of difference you can make. And he's right. It doesn't necessarily just apply to the Christian lifestyle. Being nice, giving that smile, opening the door, saying, hey, how you doing? You never know what kind of impact it's going to have on somebody's life. And, that's why I try to go out of my way a lot of times to say, hey, how you doing? And like I said, people may respond, they may not, it doesn't matter to me either way, but, I just want to throw that out there to, number one, to acknowledge that I'm seeing this person. And number two, maybe strike up a conversation, maybe to open the door where, maybe I can ask him another question, ask this person another question, whether it be a male or female, it doesn't matter. What can you tell me about Jesus? Just maybe any way to kind of crack the door open. But it says in the retail realm, choice architects know that color scheme, spatial layout, and product placement subliminally affect the way we feel, the way we choose, the way we spend. And, I will agree with that. Have you ever noticed or paid attention? Because it was many years before I really realized when you go to check out, where's all the candy at? It's about from, about your chest, your stomach line down. And whose eyesight is that? And that is our children. I just wonder how many dollars was gained when people realized to put candy, down low. But I mean, there's a lot to that. This guy even went so far as to say the volume and rhythm of music will affect how long people shop. I hadn't really thought about that, but if there's some kind of music playing that, just say for example, you're in a store and you hear a bunch of cussing music, you're not going to hang around, very long. Or even something that you don't really care for, you're not going to hang out long. But if you hear music that you kind of you like, or a song or whatever, you're subject to stay there a little bit longer. And then I got to this. It says the color of a room can manufacture a mood. And I did some research on this, and I didn't realize that jail systems even use this. I come across this one. It was in Idaho, I think. This jail, they have a room designated for people who are just really having a bad day. If they're really just out there, maybe, if they're really mad, if they've done something really bad, say they whoop somebody to the near point of death and they arrest this person. They put this person in a pink room. And the thought process was that the pink has some kind of calming effect. And, whether it does or not, I don't know. I ain't never been put in one, but anyway. And then it said a different sense affect how much customers will pay for a product. Okay, whatever. Seemed like there's been a lot of time that was spent in this, maybe wasted, but this guy said this. He said, my favorite study involves movie theaters and the smell of popcorn. That's the first thing you notice when you go into a movie theater. And one of the most memorable scents because of its complex mixture of 23 odor compounds. And they did a study that says while a controlled group watched a movie in an unmanipulated environment, an experimental group watched the same movie in the room flooded with the smell of popcorn. The experimental group accurately retrieved 10%, 20%, and even in some cases 100% more memories than the control group. And it says researchers concluded that the smell of popcorn is a memory stimulant, a memory steroid, if you will. And then I have to throw this in there. Is it any coincidence that the same God who designed it with the innate ability to distinguish between 10,000 different scents, also gave Moses a secret and sacred formula for incense. I know this is going back to the Old Testament, but I got to think about this. God, he knew incense would imprint the soul and trigger worship every time the Israelites came close enough to the tabernacle to catch wind. It says, when I was studying, it says he also gave them blueprints that included furniture, fixtures, and equipment, right down to the color of the curtains. The architecture of the universe laid out every square inch of the tabernacle, so there was a place for everything, and everything was in its place. And I hadn't thought about it till I got to studying, got to reading about this, not just so much in the Old Testament, but now. Let me go back and read the verse I had just read to you. It says, we know that all things work together for good to those who love God and to those who are called according to his purpose. All things are working together for the good that who love God and called according to his purpose. And I have to say, with that same type of intentionality, God plans our plot lines. He orders our footsteps. And you don't have to ask you, do you really believe that? Do you really believe that God has planned your footsteps? I do. Sometimes I don't understand them. Let me back up. Maybe a lot of times I don't understand them, but I know he does. He prepares good works in advance, and I believe that. I just read Romans 8:28 that, he works all things together for good. And I believe that. God has given us free will, and we know that we have the choice whether we want to choose to follow him or not. And I pray that we all do that. And I when I was making some notes, I come across something, and I wrote this down. It says he provides an entry ramp into every opportunity. And he also provides an exit ramp out of every temptation. Now, I had never really thought till I was studying this that he provides an entry ramp, and he does. I always knew he provided an exit if we're willing to take it. But it's both realms there. And, Revelation says he stands and he knocks at the door. Or maybe he sends someone like Mary to knock on the door of opportunity for him. I don't know what situation you find yourself in. We all have different situations. We all have different things going on. We really and truly, we got a million things going on, if you want to be honest. But, I don't know what situation you find yourself in, but I believe, if you're following Jesus, if you're passionately pursuing him, and you're wanting to do his will, of course, we can be selfish and do our own thing, and he can still use us, yes. But I'm saying if you're passionately pursuing him, I think God has you right where he wants you right now. Even if it's not where you want to be. I know I did a lesson a couple of weeks ago about being right where you needed to be. I believe this. I believe that he has us a lot of times right where he needs us if we're willing to be there. But then the flip side of that also is, what are you out of? Are you out of time? Are you out of love? Are you out of money? Are you out of energy? There's a lot of things that we can say, I don't have time, I don't have this, I don't have that. And I ask you, what has run out of your life that you need God to replenish? It seems like right now is such a trying time. Right now is such a stressful time. It doesn't matter if you're married, if you're single. It does not matter. Everybody's under some kind of stress. With the given situation and maybe the way our country is, maybe the way things are going, just within your household, whatever the case may be, we're all under some kind of stress. What are we running out of? I just want to have to give you one word of encouragement. If you don't get nothing else out of this, listen to this one thing. Listen to this one thing. Don't look for an exit before you look for an opportunity. A lot of times we want to check out before the opportunity arises. A lot of times we're like, why am I here? Why am I going through this? What's going on? Why is God letting this happen? Sometimes God is letting something happen to open a door for you later on. God is letting something happen to open a door for you now that he needs you to walk through. You know, and I believe that there's some things that me and John have gone through together. I believe there's some things that I went through growing up, and just like she's went through growing up. But I believe the things that I've done, or excuse me, I've been through, the things that she's been through, and the things that we've been through together has been to been for God's glory to use later on, because it's come to pass that, you know, there's some things where I'm adopted, and I've been able to talk with other people, other kids maybe that are adopted, or maybe they're, you know, they're living with somebody. You know, I think our situation, I think things we go through is something that's, for lack of better words, God's using as a tool for maybe later on. So let me repeat this one more time. Don't look for an exit before you look for an opportunity, because I believe God is setting you up. I believe God has got a masterful plan orchestrated that he needs fulfilled. And as long as we don't check out, as long as we don't give up, you know, because we have free will, as long as we don't do that, I believe you're going to see God work, especially if you're following, especially if you're talking with him, especially if you're praying, you know, God, what do you want me to do? What is your will for me? I want to be obedient to you. What do you want me to do? You know, I said a long time ago, what amazing prayer it would be, excuse me, what an amazing prayer it would be to say, yes, God, and then ask a question, what do you want from me? What do you want me to do? God, I thank you for tonight, Lord. I just thank you for this lesson, Lord. I believe this lesson was probably more for me than it would be for anybody else. And Lord, I thank you for that. Lord, I thank you for the blessing of these people. Lord, I thank you for the blessing of this class. And Lord, I just thank you for what you've blessed me with, Lord. I just pray that, Lord, I'm living according to your will, Lord. I pray that I'm being obedient to what you want me to do. And Lord, I just, I thank you for what you give me, for what you have in store for me, Lord. And I just ask for forgiveness for where I failed you, Lord. And Lord, I know I'm going to fail you more. And Lord, I just thank you in advance for the forgiveness and the mercy and the grace you will have for me. And Lord, just please continue to be with us. Please continue to give us strength. And Lord, I just pray that we follow you. In your name I pray. Amen.